Attention to all founders, hustlers, and hardworking entrepreneurs. The Hustle's 2024 Entrepreneurship Trends Report is out now, and it's a goldmine of valuable strategies, data-driven insights, and expert tips for elevating your business. Have you ever wondered how successful business owners are staying ahead of the crowd in today's super competitive market? Well, we talked to over 500 small business owners to uncover how they're doing it and did a ton of research so you don't have to. We know you're busy building your business, so we got you covered. The Hustle's 2024 Entrepreneurship Trends Report is something you don't want to miss. This right here is the future of entrepreneurship. So stop what you're doing right now and check the link in the show notes to get that report right now. Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, October 18th. I'm John Weigell here with Juliet, Bennett, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Twitter Peak was a $200 device that went on sale in 2009 and could only do one thing: access Twitter. Twitter themselves engineered this forgettable handheld and seemingly expected something other than a complete bashing by tech reviewers and lackluster sales to match. But why did they even make this device, and was it actually that bad? We'll chat about that in a bit, but first let's give you the hits and headlines today across business and tech. Take it away, Juliet.
Imagine spending $750 million on something, only getting 1/4 of that thing, and knowing you actually got a killer deal. That is the reality for private equity billionaire Tom Gores, who dropped a veritable Powerball jackpot on a 27% stake in the NFL's Los Angeles Chargers at a $4 billion valuation, a huge discount on the team's estimated $5.83 billion value. A sign of how dominant the NFL is, this guy also owns the NBA's Detroit Pistons, spent over 2 times more on this sliver of the Chargers than he did for 100% of the Pistons. That was $325 million back in 2011. Here's something a little more relatable than owning sports teams or portions of sports teams: buying toothpaste. That is apparently a fireable offense, according to Meta. Meta terminated about 24 employees from its Los Angeles offices for misusing their $25 corporate meal credits to buy personal items such as toothpaste, laundry detergent, and wine glasses, or having food delivered to their homes. The cuts come alongside larger-scale company restructuring, with some staff from WhatsApp, Instagram, and Reality Labs being laid off or relocated. Elon Musk would like you to stop teasing his robots, apparently, after claims that Tesla's humanoid bots were controlled remotely by human operators at its We Robot event. The company posted a 90-second video of its Optimus robot walking through a factory carrying trays, climbing stairs, and handing out snacks. And finally, we have a classic Taylor Swift move. If you're somebody who follows, maybe not the pop star herself, but just sort of business decisions that she makes, Taylor Swift is self-publishing her book, Taylor Swift: The Eras Tour book, under her own imprint and launching it exclusively at Target on Black Friday. This cuts out traditional book publishers and distributors, which of course earns her more of the revenue.
With smaller budgets, shorter timelines, and sky-high expectations, growth is feeling pretty painful right now. But HubSpot is here to help. They just announced more than 200 major product updates that'll make impossible business growth feel impossibly easy. Like Breeze, HubSpot's suite of new AI tools that help you say goodbye to busy work and hello to better work. There's Breeze Copilot, a sidekick to assist you with all your tasks and boost productivity, Breeze Agents to automate manual, time-consuming work and add expertise, and Breeze Intelligence to give you the richest, most comprehensive picture of your prospects you know, which are most likely to become loyal customers. They've also reimagined their marketing and content hubs with all new ways to create breakthrough content, updated features to generate better leads, and lots more to up-level your marketing and your revenue forecast. Get ready for growth without the growing pains. Visit HubSpot.com/spotlight to see them all and demo for yourself. All right, our story today expands on our failed product series, and this time we're analyzing the immediate downfall of Twitter's 2009 introduction to hardware. Twitter Peak, of course, underperformed. But Juliet, can you first tell us a bit about the origins of the Twitter Peak, this little handheld?
Yes, I actually find this super interesting, given our modern dependence on our smartphones to do literally everything for us.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So this company is called Peak. It was founded by 3 former Virgin Mobile employees in 2007. And Twitter Peak was not the first device it came out with. It actually came out with a handheld device that only did one thing. You could read and reply to emails on it. Only email. That's it. Nothing else. Just like Game Boy, but only email. Your phone, but only email.
That's great.
And you might think this sounds really silly right now because you're like, I have a literal computer in my pocket and I can watch Netflix and I can play games and I can track a satellite or whatever on it. But at the time, people actually were kind of into this device. It earned a place on Time's list of best inventions of 2008. And it was seen as something that was kind of practical for somebody who just wanted email on the go, but maybe didn't want to pay money for a BlackBerry.
Right.
Because, we don't necessarily have big smartphones back in 2007.
Oh, yeah. 2007, 2008, BlackBerry was king. And for the life of me, I could not type on that thing. Even as an 8th grader, my thumbs were too large for the BlackBerry screen.
I want to say that in this time period, I would have had one of those Nokia phones with, actual physical buttons. And it did nothing but you could make phone calls on it. You could text people and you could play Snake. End of list.
Oh, yeah. Yep. My phone at the time had those capabilities, plus one more that you could take black and white photos.
Yeah. Phone cameras used to be so bad.
Yeah, so bad, but so charming. Whatever happened to the sepia filter on everything? That was a good time.
Oh, yeah. MySpace days.
Sure. So the Peak already had a device out, can read email, can respond to emails, kind of a one-use device, which at the time period wasn't that ridiculous, I guess, because, iPhone was just kind of emerging. So talk to me about Twitter Peak. What was the kind of graduation from Peak to Twitter Peak?
Yeah, so Twitter Peak came out in 2009, and everything about this is fascinating, to me at least. It also only did one thing, and that one thing was, as you've perhaps guessed, access Twitter. That's it. That's it. Nothing else.
Great.
Now, this is interesting because it kind of serves as a testament, I guess, to how into Twitter people were at one point in time, that a company thought that it could make and sell a handheld device that only accessed Twitter. It was also $200, which is about $300 today. So that is an expensive device that allows you to only do one thing.
Right. And the question I have after that is, did it do that one thing well at all?
That is the even more hilarious part, because no, it didn't. Reviewers at the time were like, it's slow, it's hard to navigate. The one thing that is great about Twitter, and now X to a certain point, is that you can just lay in bed and doom scroll. You can see the latest news. Ever since Elon Musk took over, there is a lot of advertisements for weed and also adult content, which makes it a spicy experience. But yeah, you can just mindlessly scroll for as long as you please. The Twitter Peak couldn't even do that. You couldn't read individual tweets unless you clicked on them twice. So it was kind of like you'd get a little bit and you'd be like, I guess I want to read that one. Like you couldn't even just, like it was terrible.
So not even all the characters were displayed on screen on an app that is notorious for having very little characters.
Yeah, it's like the epitome of that you had one job. This device had one purpose and it wasn't even a good one. You know, Twitter began as an SMS thing. So like even the most basic phone could probably do some Twittering. But why anyone would pay extra money for this thing baffles me today, and it baffled people then. It obviously failed. It did not take off.
I mean, it makes sense, but, you know, you would think from the Peak side of things that, you know, you've just come out with this device in 2007, 2008 that does email. Then you're like, okay, well, what else can we expand to? You come out with a device that only does Twitter. Maybe not the worst idea in retrospect from their perspective, but from Twitter's perspective and for also the device perspective, just making something that doesn't really work that well to do that one thing. And, you know, 2007 to 2009, smartphones are getting a little more popular. You can get Twitter as an app. Twitter is meant to be an app on your smartphone. So it's very interesting how they decided to make this move then. But did it end quickly after it started?
No, they actually came back with a new product in 2010, the Peak 9.
Ooh.
And that had a lot more features. You could not only access Twitter, but you could also access Facebook. It had a map. It had weather apps. It had all sorts of things. The only problem was, as cool as that sounds, Now we're in smartphone territory. So now it's like, why am I going to buy this device that's not a phone when I could buy something that's also a phone and does all that and more? So, we are always on a trajectory to having these little computers in our pockets, for better or for worse. And peak just, came at the wrong time.
I see this very similarly to the kind of the Wild West of the mid 2000s when everybody had like 5 different kinds of MP3 players and nobody had the same one, unless it was like a Zune or an iPod. But like I had, like this random like Samsung MP3 player. I had this random one from another Japanese company. And this kind of reeks of that period of just like, there is no definitive technology to do all of these things. So everybody kind of has their own spin on it. But it seems like the big companies won out in the end.
Yeah. And, I think there's a lot of products that we've discussed or that we've written about in this series of failed products where, it did have one singular purpose. And even if it was good, like a music player or I remember I used to have one of those little TomTom GPS things.
Oh, yeah.
My dad had one in his car because my dad used to repair computers all over the States. So he would have one of those in his car. Even if it was good, eventually it was like, well, the iPhone is the one device to rule them all. It has everything. And, now we have myriad smartphones and, the Android can do everything. So I think there's a lot of products that just fell to the wayside because now we got one device that does it all.
Right. We got our Swiss Army knife phone thing on us at all times. And is there kind of a future of that technology? Is that over? Is there maybe ever going to be a single use technology like that ever again, you think?
I don't know that anybody is going to want a dedicated Twitter device. I don't know that anyone ever did, does, or will.
No Tesla peak.
No, I don't think so. But I do think that one thing that's interesting that we're seeing is a resurgence in dumb phones of people who are like, I want a phone that's just a phone. And this is why no one's ever going to want a Twitter peak, I think. People are tired of scrolling. People are tired of relying on their phones constantly. I think a lot of people have realized that they spend way too much time staring at a screen. They get up, they scroll through Facebook, they go to sleep, they scroll through Twitter. They're just, I don't know, they've just become too reliant on it. And so there are people who are like, hey, I want to reduce my screen time and I want my phone to just be a phone. So there's a whole line of dumb phones out there and they do very little. You can call people, you can text. Maybe they might have a couple limited apps, an alarm clock, calendar. Maybe they play music. Maybe they offer a map service, which I think is the most valuable thing on my phone.
Me too.
I love that my phone can tell me what time the bus is coming. Does it do so accurately all of the time? No, but I like that the option exists.
You like the illusion.
Yeah. So just minimal things like that. But I think the key point here is that they don't have social media, something that often can make us waste our time and also feel bad about ourselves, according to some studies. So that's kind of what people are going back to. So I think people could go back to the idea of a peak, maybe not something that's just email, but maybe like something that is just your phone plus email or just your phone plus a couple apps. Yeah. I don't think anyone is ever going to want a device that is exclusively for the purpose of social media, though, because that's what we're trying to get away from with the dumb phones.
Yeah, I really enjoy that route of having a device that doesn't give you a sensory onslaught every day. So that sounds quite nice, actually. A dumb phone wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, because I was reading an article about this in The New Yorker, people who are really into dumb phones. And I was like, why don't you just do that little control thing? Like my phone, I'm like, turn off all social media at 11 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
But then obviously the real answer is, yeah, I can just undo that if I want.
Yeah,
I could just be like, let me at it.
Exactly.
So if you really want to detox, but you still need a phone for work purposes or you got kids or whatever, maybe the dumb phone is the solution for you.
It could be, just to eliminate that altogether, just so we're not all that meme of Eric Andre saying, let me in at the gates.
Yes, yes.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get yourself signed up, thehustle.co/email, and we'll see you later. Hey, what's up, everybody? I've been listening to this awesome podcast lately. It's called Hustle and Flowchart, hosted by Joe Fear, and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. The Hustle and Flowchart podcast with Joe Fear is all about how to build a business so it gives you the freedom and fuel for your life. You can join Joe as he discusses systems, mindset tweaks, reframes, and strategies for entrepreneurs and really anyone, to be honest, to enjoy the process of being in business and also having fun. This isn't just for the entrepreneur looking to make $1 billion business, but it's also for somebody who's looking to build systems that work for you so you can make more money than you need just by working part-time, essentially. I was actually just listening to an episode he had on Kareen Walsh behind the app Hey Kareen, and Kareen talked a lot about how to scale your business effectively, especially if you're just a startup, especially if you're just an app startup specifically. It's an awesome episode. I would recommend it to anyone. You could check them out and you can listen to the Hustle and Flow chart wherever you get your podcasts.